asset and real estate investment company. It is Walton Global. They've got about 3.6 billion in assets and over 94,000 acres under management here in the United States. She joins us, Kate does, from Scottsdale, Arizona. Kate, welcome to Bloomberg Business Week. Nice to have you here with Tim and me. How are you? And talk to us about your world, because you guys do commercial, industrial, residential, real estate. Give us kind of an overview of how things are going. Better than the last year, better than the last 6 months? What can you tell us?
Yeah, we're pretty excited about 2024 here at Walton. We really focus on the land space. We're buying land in the path of growth, predominantly to sell to public new home builders. But we also, as you noted, have industrial, commercial, and retail holdings. So the numbers that came out today, really important in terms of what we're seeing in the resale market, which has a direct impact on the new home building space, which is where we focus. With the resale figures seeing the slowest year for the last 3 decades in 2023, we're excited that January was finally an uptick in terms of the resale market. And that continued increase in value. I think we were at about 5% in increase in existing home sale value year over year. So strong numbers on the resale market, but still seeing a continued push for buyers to that new home market because of a lot of the lock-in effect that we're seeing from those mortgage rates, which, as you noted, are creeping up a bit.
Hey, Kate, how would you characterize demand from the home builders right now? Because you guys have property all over the United States. You got a lot in Colorado, a lot in California, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, Georgia. How would you characterize the demand that you're seeing from home builders who want to buy that land and then build homes on it?
I mean, home builder sentiment is up. I think it was at 44%. We're seeing more transactions go under contract right now than we did certainly a year ago, which 2023 was a good year here at Walton. We've got around 2.8 billion in deal volume that's at various stages, hoping to move that towards closing. So we're still seeing a lot of demand, but certainly builders are looking to take positions right now. Permits are up just across the board. We've seen a year of month over month increases. I think right now we're sitting at just over 1 million units at an annualized rate, which is up 35% year over year. So permits showing us what we can expect for the future, what our forecasts are looking like.
What's land prices look like right now?
So, like everything else, we continue to see that increase, but it's remaining somewhat consistent. And where we're really seeing a lot of our negotiations take place is working with builders on understanding what development costs are going to be, timelines, and working to ensure that everyone's margins are really remaining consistent and hitting those targets that they're looking for.
But for you, for the acquisition costs, are land prices going up? And I'm curious if I'm assuming there are geographical differences. I mean, I know I've got a lot of family down south and it's kind of on fire right now. So if you can give us some context as you look across the United States where you're seeing land values go up a lot, because that's your bread and butter, right?
Yeah, our assets are really focused in the southern half of the United States. If I were to poll our acquisitions team or talk to any of the builders, I mean, land prices are going up right across the board, and it's getting more and more difficult to find any deals. I would say they're few and far between right now. The markets that we're really focusing on continue to be Florida, Texas, Georgia, and the Carolinas, and then of course in the Southwest and West as well. But definitely seeing increases in land values, and a lot of that has to do with the lack of supply of development-ready land. We continue to see significant challenges right across the country as it pertains to land getting approved for development. This is a challenge that builders and landowners are facing across the board, as we have more municipalities really restricting, especially that high density residential development, which is where this country, quite frankly, needs more supply in those lower price sectors.
Yeah, we could do an entire interview just based on the
Yeah.
politics and the policy here. But Kate, help our audience understand, our viewers and our listeners understand the role that you play as sort of a middle person in this market, because perhaps some of them are asking themselves, well, why doesn't the landowner go directly to the developer and actually make more money when they sell that? What's the value that you bring to the transaction by holding on to the land from the landowner to the developer?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and our entire business is really focused right now on feeding builders, demand for just-in-time inventory. Just-in-time inventory is as simple as, the builders post Great Recession were penalized significantly for holding long-term land assets that were not income generating, that they weren't going to turn in, call it a 2-year time frame. So Walton comes in, we buy these land assets and we sell them to builders, typically, on a phase by phase basis, over time, as they're ready to take it down and start development and ultimately build a home. And so we're kind of in that land banking space.
Right.
For those of you familiar with the term, which is something that we're seeing right across the board. Every builder is really being forced to utilize that tool in their toolbox.
Right. So it's not kind of stuck on their balance sheet, especially if there's any kind of downturn. Kate, got 30 seconds left here. In terms of what you are seeing, are you setting up for a U.S. economy that's recovering, that's growing, that might have a recession? And just real quickly, 25 seconds, if you could.
Definitely looking at growth. I mean, if you just look at the population numbers from last year alone, I think it was the largest 1-year population increase in history. That plus, the builders continuing to buy down rates for new home buyers. I think we're going to see really strong figures in the balance of this year and in the economy in general.
All right, going to leave it on that note. Kate, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Kate Kaminski, Chief Operating Officer of the privately owned asset and real estate investment company Walton Global, joining us from Scottsdale, Arizona. Home builders as a group, they're up